Hello, my name is Mod, or at least that's what I go by on Discord and in most games. I am one of the main people that focuses on stress leaderboards inside of Polybridge 3, and I'm going to go through a specific world and go over some of my ideas and strategies I've used inside of it. The world is Rustic Barrens, but you may notice I'm on the first level right now. The reason for that is I actually want to go over some key ideas that are going to be displayed inside of the levels. The very first thing is an under over. So what I mean by that is you have support that is underneath like this, and then supports that go over. Ignore how badly I just drew that arch. But yeah, so something like this is an under over bridge because it goes under over under. So that's another key aspect. The next one is basically wood, rope, and compression, as a lot of people have called it. However, really all it is just wood and compression. And what it looks like is basically you have a material here that is supporting something, and you have wood pieces that are like this. Now, it looks like this wood here should be in tension, but is actually in compression. And the reason for this, the best example, is if you do this, get rid of this one, and put under supports here, and under supports here. Now, if this part here was in tension, it would just fall straight down, right? Because there's nothing supporting it, and tension is basically the idea of stretching something. Compression is forcing it together, making it smaller. Best way of describing it I've found. And as you can see, if I hit play, it stays there. What that means is that there's forces stopping it from compressing, so it's in compression. And that means that it is basically going to support. And when you have something like this, even though it's like this, it is still supporting the other piece and reducing the stress on that piece. So those are the two main ones I wanted to discuss before going to the actual world. The first one here, as you can see, is an under over, very big under over, pretty simple design. The other aspects to mention is the dynamic aspects for the bridge. If you come from an engineering background, you know that static is really, really bad. And basically everything should be able to absorb and move a little bit with forces. Otherwise, it's just a really bad situation in the real world. And things are most likely to break and destroy and lose a lot of money. So as you can see here, this one is mostly static. However, the rope that is supporting it underneath is in tension, and rope has zero compression forces at all. So in this one, it will move very slightly, but it still allows it to move. So I'll play it slow and zoom in on the part that I know moves a little bit. You can see it moves a little bit here as the cars drive over it, and that's absorbing those forces. So let me play again, and you can watch the actual stresses. So that's the first level. For the next one, this one I have to give credit to someone in the gallery. I completely forgot who it was. It wasn't any of the main people that do stress leaderboards in my experience that I know of. And basically it just has the 3 steel parts coming down. Maybe someone else came up with it and someone can correct me in the comments, but this is something I found in gallery. If someone else came up with it first, please let me know, and I will give credit to them. But like I said, stole the design from gallery. I did have my own under supports, and yeah, it's pretty simple design. For the next one here, this one here focuses a lot more on tension aspects, and also does involve that wood support compression aspect. Because like if I delete these 2 pieces of wood and hit play, you may notice that those steels get really, really stressed, 39 and 39. If I put those wood pieces back, you'll notice, hey, now they're 35%. They're not even showing in the top 10% for stressed pieces. So very, very effective technique there. And I honestly forget who found it. It may have been wind still. It may have been eclipse. I honestly forget, but either way, it's a great technique and very, very helpful. This next one here uses the under-over. It doesn't really look like it at first, but when you delete these two segments of the bridge, it becomes obvious it is an under-over bridge. The other aspect is this jump here. You want the vehicle to jump and just barely miss the road down below. If it hits the road down below, it's a lot of force landing on the bridge, and if it lands on the ground over here on the right, or even on the anchor, it's not going to cause much force to the bridge at all, if any, because you're just hitting ground, you're not hitting the bridge. And all we care about in this case is the bridge. So there you go, there's that one. For the next one here, this one here focuses on building two different bridges mainly. Something to note, on a lot of these levels, if you try to delete everything, there is something you cannot delete. That is a pre-built item, and you have to build your bridge around that. In this one here, if this foundation wasn't here, you would love to just build straight across like this. But if you do that, the car will just drive right into the foundation and not go anywhere. So you have to go over the foundation, and that's why the bridge ends up like this. The other thing you may notice is that all the supports for the top bridge basically go down to either the foundation or anchor points. It does not actually involve the bottom bridge at all, and that means that all the forces are purely either one bridge or the other. They're not really intermixing all that much. And also, once again, under over is basically everywhere, and also jumps to put force elsewhere are used. For the next one, full credit to Windstill. This is basically his design. I do have my own side pieces or wall supports, but everything else, this middle section and basically how this bridge functions, was basically stolen from him, or whoever. I believe it's a him. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty sure. Either way, full credit to them. Great job. This next one is kind of a frustrating level for a lot of people. Reason for it is all the roads are pre-built and you cannot move them no matter what you do. There used to be a glitch with foundations. Trigreave was really good at doing this. Basically, you'd like move it and undo it, and you can like move it just slightly. Unfortunately, that no longer works, and it's actually good for the leaderboard because you don't have like cheated scores. But in general, this is the design I came up with. As you can see, this right side where the Barrens coming down and changing its angle is where a lot of the forces and a lot of the supports are to counteract that. Okay, this next one, if I delete everything, you can see this top part is the pre-built section. This one here is one of the harder pre-built sections to work around. The reason is that this monster truck is already very fast by the time it gets on the bridge. That's why we have this road here to slow it down. And then also these sections here are really hard to support in a good manner. So if we focus just on the top one first, you can see it slows it down and supports it very effectively. The bottom one, you may notice, is not under over anymore. It is now set up in a way that is tension for the bridge and actually separates it into two different parts. What I mean by that is if I get rid of these three, in general, it actually doesn't. What I mean by that is that you have two sections. You have this section of 3 and this section of 4, and they're each supported in their own unique way. Like this one here has the support this way and also the roads coming to it, but then these ones on this side are supported in tension from over here. Also, these wood ropes allow it to move a lot and add the dynamic aspect to support the bridge. For the right side, it's very similar to the left side, where you have two sections of 3 built in basically the exact same manner. The reason it's done this way is because it's really cost effective and pretty stress effective also. So there's not much forces going into it. If you have under supports here, you have no anchor to build off of, and that makes it cost a lot more and cause more stress. You can also see the jumps at the end of each one to basically put all the force into the ground instead of on the bridge at the end. Okay, for the next one, I will start by deleting everything again, and you can see the fact that there are pre-built again, and in this case, they are connected. This means that we can't do the technique that we used before, where we have two separate bridges, and that they are going to affect each other no matter what you do. The other thing to note in this is that all the supports for the top bridge basically go right back into an anchor directly. If you trace a line back, it goes straight into an anchor or to a wall support. One of the two. This next one here uses something called A-frame trusses. They allow for a bit of dynamic movement and also allow for the arch above them to be higher up. What I mean by that is if you delete these, each material has a certain length. So as you can see, when these connect, they can only go so high. But with an A-frame, they go much higher. As you can see, a single piece of wood does not even reach that. And then the top bridge basically separates or segments the bridge as much as possible. You have a segment of 2 here that's supported, a segment of 1 that's a connector or stabilizer, a segment of 1 that's supported, a segment of 3, a segment of 3, etc. It also does not connect back over to this anchor. The reason for that partially is price. It's cheaper, and also allows for dynamic movement on this side to absorb a bit more force. Now, this bridge here has a couple of key aspects to it. First thing to note is that the pre-built is not in a buildable area. What I mean by that is if you start here and just spam this way, you see you can't build out there, so there's no way you can affect it. The original version of this game, before they did a bunch of updates, had that pre-built counting towards the stress, and this level was all about reducing your impact onto that piece of road. And what you built over in this area really did not matter as much as just how did you land over there. However, the developers changed it, in my opinion, for the better when they went and made it so that way anything that is outside the buildable area does not count. So if I go back now, you may notice that, let me skip ahead a bit. This design here was built by some fake gamer originally. I took his design and made it slightly better, but full credit to them, it was literally their first bridge in stress category, and it was really, really good. Significantly better than my original design by like 2%, which is huge at this level. And full credit to them, great design, and want to give them credit. So this next one here focuses a lot more on the dynamic aspect of the bridge, and what I mean by that is these inner pieces are not well supported, and they'll actually like slide in and be able to move a lot more as the vehicle goes over them. So the bulldozer weighs a significant amount, and it's actually really hard to support this one in a good manner. You also have to push this box out of the way. You cannot delete it, and you have to get the star that's behind it. So you have to move it. So as you can see, the bottom part's slid in, and they're able to move a little bit, and the rope and the cable allows it to move better. This is the final level of this world, and it's also the only one I didn't really have to revisit while I was doing this objective or challenge for myself. It is probably by far the easiest one for someone to take back if anyone goes for these levels. But the idea behind this one is that the top vehicle is really the only one you care about. The reason for that is this vehicle has to jump from either here or up here, whatever amount you build out, and land down at this bottom part in a manner that's not going to apply that much force to the road. And all this down here is pre-built. So you can see you can't really affect where it lands or how it lands all that much. The one main thing I did is that these 3 pieces of rope are all in tension and all can move a lot. And you'll see throughout the replay that this area of the bridge, like this whole area here, is going to move a lot as the vehicles drive over them. So there you go. That is the Rustic Barrens world, all first places. And as you can see, if I go to rankings here and go into stress, everything will be first. So there's that. The other thing I want to mention before I end the video is the mods and what I use to make it easier for myself to stress and budget and basically play this game in general. I use 3 mods, as you can see here. One is Fast Live Stress. This shows a better version of the stress percentage than what the base game shows. It's not really needed, I just prefer it and it gets more accurate readings. It also shows the current stress along with the max stress that has happened in the simulation so far. So if I go back to a level here and hit play, you'll notice at the bottom here, it's showing, hey, this is what I am, and this is my max stress in the level so far. And then this here, the 20%, that is what the game would normally show you. And you can see how much more detailed this is showing. If I go to the other mods, Edge Stress is by far the #1 mod that I recommend for someone trying to get into stress and basically looking at this leaderboard. The reason for it is very simple. It's only going to show you 10 numbers. You can either use white or black version. It really depends on what you prefer. I prefer the white one. Some people prefer the black one. It's personal choice. What it is going to do is it's going to show you the 10 most stressed pieces on the bridge after the simulation. Something to note is that if you simulate something really fast, this one may not be the best one, but it may not show some aspects. So like here it's saying 37.61. If I zoom in and try to find something that's 37.61, you'll find that there's nothing. Now I can tell you from experience the piece that's 37.61 is one of these 3 rope pieces, but if I slow down and go more at normal speed, you'll see that happen where it gets to those 37s. It's like now if you zoom in, you'll see, hey, that's the piece that's that stressed. And also, as you can see here, these 3 rope pieces are not very well balanced. One's 36, one's 37, and the other one's not even mentioned. And the lowest stress here is in the 35s. So I can definitely make this one better, fairly easy. Like I said, this is probably the easiest one to take if anyone wants to take it. And then the final mod that I use, but you don't really have to for leaderboards or anything like that, it's just something I prefer to have, is the Dev Extreme sim speeds. This one here is not the one with the most sim speeds or the highest sim speeds or the lowest sim speeds. It just allows you to have a little bit extra in terms of how fast or how slow you want to go through the simulations, and I find it helps me a lot. And yeah, really that's all there is. If anyone has any questions regarding anything or how I come up with stuff, please let me know in the comments and I will respond. Anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful holiday and see you guys later.